You can change the world. By you hearing that sentence, your neural network has been altered in the most minute way. This will affect your behavior for the rest of your life. Who knows what the ripple effects will be? Whether you believe the statement or not is actually irrelevant. Had you not heard the statement, who knows what the ripple effect would be? Nothing in this life is meaningless. Everything matters. Think about the moment of your own conception. Not that you want to. But had there been a moment's delay, you know what I'm talking about. Had there been a moment's delay, you would not be you. You might be of the opposite sex instead. And it wouldn't even be you anyway. You had to enter the world in the exact way you did for you to be you. Down to the most minute thing. Had your parents missed the bus or not missed the bus? Had your parents chosen cornflakes instead of Weetabix? Had they chosen to not pick that booger? Who knows what the ripple effect would have been? And in all likelihood, you wouldn't have been you. Now extrapolate that to your parents' conception and their parents' conception and so forth. We are the physical manifestation of 13 billion years worth of flukes. Go on, say it. It's God's plan. Well, if it's God's plan, then that means we don't have free will. You can't have it both ways.
You definitely can't.
Yes, C word. So yeah, what do you think about that?
So
what do you think about that? Pause this video right now. Go and read Flukes by
Dr. Brian Klaas. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. His name's Douchebag.
There we go. And his name's C word.
And welcome to the Actual Life.
Yeah, I've never let you freestyle again.
Yeah, no, I forgot what I was going to say.
I've never let you freestyle
What was
again.
I supposed to say?
You said what you're supposed to say, but you just froze too many times. You don't do it seamlessly.
I didn't freeze.
Like
you froze.
I seamlessly do. You went off script. Then I froze.
But yeah, what did you think of the book?
Well, look, I had many thoughts about it. I thought it was. Well, I'm gonna say that in one of my later points. I thought there was a lot of good information in there, but I did think a load of the book was awful.
Well, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I wanted some powerful, kick in the nuts sort of thing. Waking ice bucket thrown on your head. Whoa! Yeah. Now I look at life the way I did, and it did have that, but I wish there was more. There was definitely a lot of waffle.
There was a lot,
and we're
gonna
get straight into it.
I knew it was gonna. There's too many big promises. There's too many big promises going into the book, so I was suspicious. Let me say that.
I don't know if there was too many promises.
I was suspicious because of the level of promises that we were gonna get going into the book. It was like, this book is going to change how we think about the world. I was literally like, listen, you could do that, but at the end of the day,
No. Did it do that?
Yeah.
Exactly. See, I knew you was gonna say that. So sometimes we want these things to cure cancer. And when they do, we're like, yeah, but...
No, when they treat cancer instead of curing cancer. It's like, who treats cancer though?
Yeah,
so it's
like,
still a win.
Yeah.
Look, I know what you're talking about. I know what you mean. I'm looking at this book as if it's the God Delusion, when it's not really the God Delusion.
Yeah,
it's not that level. It's better than that. Do you want to go first?
Much better. No, you go first. You got more, remember?
I got 4.
Oh, okay.
You got 4, right? I mean, I'm happy to go first. Not a problem.
Let me go.
All right.
Because mine's better.
We'll see.
We are free to want what we want, but we cannot will what we will. We are free to pursue our preferences, even though we cannot choose our preferences. Is this what you call free will? But how do you know what you want? Sorry, how do you want what you want? How does it work? Well, philosophers believe that your desire system is split into 2. You have your first order desire and you have your second order desire, the higher order desire. So here's an example of a first order desire. I want to give my friend a birthday present. This is a straightforward and immediate desire, an intention to act by giving a gift. Your second order desire builds upon that, or goes even deeper, I should say. It's the real desire. I want to please my friend or make her happy with the gift. Here, the desire is reflective. It's not just about giving a gift, but it's about achieving a specific emotional outcome, like bringing joy or surprise. That's why you're doing it. It's not about the gift. Stay with me now. We're going down a rabbit hole, Neo. Yes, it gets deeper. The third order desire, yeah, I didn't tell you about that. But the third order desire in this case could reflect the relationship between giving and your own personal fulfillment. Here's what I mean. I want to please my friend and make her happy because giving brings me joy and fulfills my desire to feel connected and appreciated. This higher order desire connects the act of giving not only to your friend's happiness, but also to your own emotional satisfaction. And the fourth order desire, no, I'm joking. But we cannot conceptualize how complicated, selfish, and indecisive we are as human beings. And to make it worse, sometimes our third order desire conflicts with our first or second. So, for example, you might say, oh, I could do with some chocolate cake. That's the first order desire. And then you might say, oh, but I'm trying to lose weight. That's the second order desire. I'm trying to be healthy. That recognizes the need for discipline and reflects an attempt to change behavior. And your third order desire could be, I want to embrace a lifestyle where eating is effortless and I no longer feel tempted by junk food. And this focuses on a long-term shift in identity and mindset. Where this conflicts your first and second desires, your third order desire is to become someone who naturally avoids unhealthy food. That clashes with your first order desire for chocolate cake and your second order, which is still acknowledging the struggle of resisting temptation. So not only are we clashing with our own selves about something as simple as eating a fucking chocolate cake, but the vast majority of the population don't even know how deep the confliction goes. So my question is, if we don't know what we want, who the fuck does?
Oh, that's probably the best question you're ever going to ask in your lifetime.
Do you know what I mean?
Who actually does know what we want?
Because it's not me.
Yeah, ain't
and it's not you.
But I know it is when I see it. I see it,
yeah.
I don't know.
Them. So yeah, we are very, very complicated beings.
We're fickle beings.
Yeah, we're all over the place, and it's just like what you say, I say. You are the most complicated being. You're the most complicated thing in the universe. You are incapable of understanding you. That's how complicated you are. And that's how stupid you are.
I was about to say. Yeah,
you are incapable of understanding you. But this is where we are. We're all in the same boat. Don't let us think we're trying to tell you that we're some super beings.
We're not experts on anything. We just read the book.
We read the book.
Just read the
it's
book.
as simple as that.
That's it.
And we're going to read some more.
We're going to read a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's interesting to know how our thought processes and desires are. Because, you don't learn this shit in school.
What do you learn in school, to be honest? The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Or the nucleus of the cell, whatever it is. I don't know, I didn't go to school. But luck of Kokura. We have all heard about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but did you know that Nagasaki was not on the original list of targets? On October 30th, 1926, Mr. and Mrs. H.L. Stimson stayed at the Miyaka Hotel in Kyoto for their honeymoon. Some 2 decades later, after the Manhattan Project, which is where they basically let off the big bomb in, I think it was the Nevada desert, Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy, if you've seen that movie, Henry Stimson, who served as Secretary of War to President Truman of the US, argued that Kyoto should be removed from the list of targets due to its cultural importance. So a lot of people believe that he said that because he had a fondness for the city. They called it his pet city, in fact. Had a fondness for the city because that's where he went for his honeymoon. I don't know if anyone can prove this. I did some research outside of the book and loads of people would dispute this fact, but it was concrete enough to be put into this book, so I'm going to say it anyways, because like we said, we're not experts, we just read the book.
Yeah.
As an alternative measure, the city of Kokura was selected as a target instead of Kyoto. On August 9th, the B-29 bomber boxcar was assigned to drop the Fat Man bomb, so... Everyone knows the Fat Man and Little Boy were code names for the bombs that were dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So the B-29 bomber boxcar was assigned to drop the Fat Man on Kokura, but the clouds were too thick. And Major Charles Sweeney decided to fly to the bomber's secondary target of Nagasaki. 100,000 people were annihilated by radiation because of the weather. Total random, because some guy had his honeymoon in a city and he liked the hotel and he was like, well, let's not.
And it's also not just that, but it's the fact that the people, I don't know, what was it, the city he went to where the weather was?
Kokura.
Yeah. Those people, they were this close.
Oh, they were oblivious.
They were this close
Oblivious. They
to
were there
destruction.
partying, you know, partying.
This
That was
close.
us right now, just here, filming this or whatever. They're oblivious.
And the nuke's flying over and the guy goes, nah, it's a bit.
Nah.
It's a bit, I don't like it.
You were this close to
Clouds, it's clouds.
destruction on a level that no human has ever seen destruction before.
To,
And
your,
they just
to you, your family, and your children, and their children, and their children, and children, and they
100%.
nuke the place. It's
exactly. And the
crazy.
people of Nagasaki, they were supposed to be watching that on the news, and instead that was them, just at random, because some guy said, nah. He met with the president. I think it was twice. He met with President Truman and said, we must not bomb Kyoto. He's a Secretary of War, you know. He's got pull, but because he had his honeymoon there.
I reckon he had a side bitch there. That's what it
Boy,
was.
he might have had a couple of side
Pitney,
bitches there.
he had
He
kids
might have had a
there. He
couple
said,
of
"Oh,
them
not
there.
my sons."
Real bad man.
That's what it always comes down to.
100%.
The illusion of individualism. A man got lost at sea for 18 hours through the night. He was actually in the water. By chance, he found a football floating towards him and he clung onto it all night until he was rescued in the morning. After the story made the news, a mother was horrified and called in to say that she recognized the ball. Her sons lost the ball at the seaside 10 days ago and 80 miles away.
Jesus.
The ball had bobbed on the waves for 80 miles into the path of this guy where it saved his life. To think that the boys thought little of the ball when they lost it, they shrugged and bought a new one. But without that accidental kick, Ivan, the guy, would have been dead.
Without that one guy with the banana foot that kicked it into the water, you know.
I know you think of this story as some lucky scenario, blind chance, but no. This is how the world works. We are just blind to it. Every present moment is created by seemingly unrelated moments we just don't know about because we are fooled by the illusion of individuality. We forever surf on the ripples made by others. Now, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I think she should get done for littering.
Oh, man, imagine they hear that story. They was like, oh, it's crazy, but you did litter though.
Cuffs on.
You know what I mean?
She's like, kinky.
Oh, man.
But would you say that she's a sociopath if she didn't come forward with that story that her son's lost the football? Because she went out of her way to say, oh, I lost that football. She didn't need to do that.
Yeah,
but I
do
know
you know
that's
what I mean?
normal. But would it be? Would she be a sociopath if she said, yeah, I'll just take that to my grave, no problem?
No. I don't
That's
think she'll be
normal.
a sociopath.
It's
I
normal
don't think she'll be a
business.
sociopath. I think it was kind
Because I
of...
think it's kind of everybody would have a desire to share that story.
No,
If
but
you
it's kind of attention seeking if you do. You know, oh, I
yeah,
lost the-
exactly.
Do you
But
see
that's what a
I'm saying? So
sociopath would say.
Really? You think so?
I don't know.
mean,
Maybe. I'm not.
If I'm a sociopath, then I'd be incapable of finding a normal, answer for this kind of question.
I think most people would say, "Oh my gosh, I lost that ball." I think that was a normal response. But for you
Look,
to not
I
do
probably
that,
would have said that. I wouldn't go on. I don't think I would go on TV. Obviously, nobody knows what they would do. Do you know what I mean? Nobody knows what they would do. You'd have to make that. You'd have to make that noise. You'd have to make that noise, though.
my son's lost the football.
No, you'd have to make that noise. But
That makes a
I
big
think
difference, doesn't it?
Everybody, huge difference. But I think nobody knows what they would do in that kind of situation until the press are pulling up around the hours. Did you lose a football? So it was your football. It's got your address on it. It's got your signature on it, or whatever. No one really knows what they were doing in that situation, but it's kind of attention seeking,
Yeah,
like,
definitely is.
trying to say like I saved this guy's life when it's like
I don't know if it's that far, but it's definitely attention seeking because you don't need to say that. But even though the person whose life was saved would definitely want to know that, and the public would definitely.
I mean,
want to know
out of
too.
sheer curiosity.
That's
I'm
what I'm
sure they
saying.
wanna know.
That's what I'm saying. But curiosity killed
They'll
the
wanna
what?
know. Yeah.
The pussy. How did you know?
Oh, dude, I didn't know. I just spoke.
Said what I saw.
Oh, dude. Nah, switch this off. Go to bed. Literally go to bed. This book has passages that I can only refer to as Richard Dawkins-esque. There are a lot of big claims, a lot of rhetoric, but also a lot of anecdotes and interesting stories, as opposed to scientific empiric evidence. I should have expected as much. A lot of the book, and when I say a lot of the book, I particularly mean the beginning of chapters as well. The beginning of chapters, like he would lead us into the information with a lot of these anecdotes, talking about a lot of stuff that's not really anything. It's trying to make the word count. I know what trying to make the word count looks like, and it's like
I disagree. I disagree. I don't necessarily. Okay, so one thing when you say he's telling you stories, because instead of science, realistically, this is not empirical science. It pretends to be, but empirical science means that you've got to be able to bring unfalsifiable information. But this is pretty much speculation.
It has to be. It's called Fluke.
He can't.
It has to be.
It's just
literally has to be.
So you know, by him beefing up the story with some interesting stories, I mean, you surely can't knock him for that.
Look, the reason why I say you can knock him for that is because you chose a topic that there is no unfalsifiable evidence for. So you can't then blame me. Like, you chose to do this. Do you know what I mean? You knew there was no evidence.
Would you prefer to not have the story?
No. Listen, look, that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there.
That's still an important question, surely. You can't knock him down for something that you enjoyed, surely.
In 25 years of life, I've never heard a question that wasn't important. So, what I'm saying is, he chose to do this. He chose this topic. And, boy, all I can criticize is what I read.
I said, you do the time, you do the crime.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. That's it.
I mean, look, he can only do what he can only do. I think he did all right with what he did.
No, I don't disagree.
Yeah, and the book was worth reading.
Oh, absolutely.
Much more than some of this other tut that you tell us to read. Anyway.
I tell us to read, you know.
Yeah, say it again. A Chinese dictator called Mao Zedong accidentally triggered a famine that resulted in 55 million people starving to death. Man said, whoops.
You move like Churchill.
What actually happened was that he ordered his people to kill en masse rats and sparrows. He was actually trying to eradicate human disease. So what happened was, because of the reduction in the numbers of sparrows, the numbers of locusts started soaring. There were gigantic swarms of locusts that would just devour fields of food. 55 million people died. It's literally inconceivable to think about how one man changed the course of human history by killing 55 million. How many children who were going to be brought into this world, who are no longer going to be brought into this world?
Yeah, no.
So wait a minute. Think about the children who were going to be brought into this world. Think of their potential children that they might have had.
The potential grandchildren.
Their children.
Yeah,
for the rest of time.
Oh my God. The potential grandchildren of people who died in that plague who weren't supposed to die. Yeah, it's just
when you add up them numbers,
hundreds of thousands of people.
What do you mean 100,000? 55 million people were killed. So if there 55 million,
hundreds of thousands of potential
millions,
billions.
55 million people died.
Well, it's infinite.
If 55 million,
it's infinite. It's infinite.
Billions.
Drop of a hat.
Billions.
Drop of a hat.
Man said, "Whoops."
Drop of a hat. That's crazy. Oopsie.
It's inconceivable. I mean, it's like, how do you make up for that?
You can't. There's nothing you can do in your life. You might as well commit suicide. Straight away. Sorry, bluicide.
So you're trying to cancel us. Okay.
Yeah, no. You might as well take bluicide straight away. Nothing you do in your life. What are you going to do after that? What, get a soup kitchen? Like, there's nothing you can do.
You can't make that back up.
Your body count 55 million.
You could try to repopulate the world.
55 million innocents. You have to have 55 million baby mother. No, when we talk about a real bad man, when we talk about a real bad man, that's what that is. But no, that's crazy numbers though, because it's like, you can't conceive you've never seen 55 million of anything in your life. You know, maybe 55 million atoms.
I mean, you can't even know that number's accurate.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, no, you can't know. You actually can't know.
You know what I mean? It's probably more.
It's beyond your comprehension as a human to think.
So what
does 55 million look like?
Is that hell? You go in hell for that?
That's a good question,
And what else? And also,
If you end up in hell after you do that, you know it was for.
Remember, he tried. Remember, he was trying to do a good thing. That's the maddest
Yeah.
thing. He was trying to eradicate human disease.
God does not talk about intentions in the Bible or anything else, though. He talks about what do
Actions.
you do. He said, when we weigh your soul and we tally up your actions, when we tally your banana,
What?
listen, you never heard that song?
You're the telling my banana.
When we tally them up, how many black banana you got, how many yellow banana you got, that's it.
I got one more.
I've got 2 more. How do you have 1 more?
Well,
Why do you always mess this up? What is the purpose of this book? All it's doing at the moment is making me scared. So every morning I take the 133 bus to London Bridge to get to work. Some days, when the 133 is busy, or if it's late, I take the 415 and I change at Elephant and Castle. What if, on that day, someone jumps on the train tracks and as a result there is an overcrowding of buses? And as a result, I'm late to work, I lose my job, I become addicted to drugs, and I die? What if that happens? This is what this book is making me think of. These are the kind of scenarios that Fluke, when you think about Fluke and when you think about the ripple effect that your everyday choices could have on the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know, if you hear about, someone died on the train tracks because the train malfunctioned, they didn't plan for that.
Through no fault of your own. And it's funny because I actually forgot to read my spoiler-free opinion of this book.
How is it?
And I said, I think this was a great book to read. It changes your perspective on life and gets you to realize that everything you do matters. If you don't have anxiety before reading this book, I promise that you will do by the time you get to the end of the book. Because everything you do, whether you put your phone down on this leg or you put your phone on this leg, life could be different. You might put your phone down and then go toilet, or you might put your phone down and take a drink. And then what happens after that? It just multiplies. The options multiply.
When it comes to anxiety, it's not necessarily about what's going to happen. It's about what you think could happen.
What you think could
so
happen.
it's like...
It's not even about what could happen. It's what you think could happen.
Exactly. So it's like, bro, it's actually best you don't read this book. It's best for your peace of mind. But like, no, honestly, it was a lot of interesting information, a lot of interesting stories that make you think about things in a different way. So I'd recommend you do. But I'm thinking, like, what if I get on this bus when I was supposed to get on that bus? And as a result... I'm in a car crash when I shouldn't have been in a car crash.
Exactly.
Or, like, bro, I'm not going to live another peaceful day on this earth.
You're the one driving in the car crash.
Oh, my days. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to live another day. I was supposed to smash Margot Robbie, but because I got on this bus instead of that, like...
That's what I call a blunder.
There's too much at stake. I should just never leave the house.
But then, who knows what the ripple effects could be.
Can't smash Margot Robbie if you never leave the house, right?
Did you know the shape of Charles Darwin's nose nearly changed history forever? Charles Darwin could have missed the ship, the HMS Beagle, because of senseless discrimination based upon his nose. He was about to go to sea aboard the HMS Beagle, but the captain, Robert Fitzroy, didn't want Darwin on his ship. Why, you might ask? The captain didn't like Darwin's nose because it was the wrong shape. Captain Fitzroy believed that Captain Fitzroy believed that one could tell a lot about a person's character by observing the shape of one's nose. Apparently, Darwin's nose pointed to a character flaw, and Fitzroy didn't want to take any chances of having someone on board with an apparent moral deficiency. By some miracle, the captain changed his mind and Darwin was allowed passage. And it was on this voyage where Charles Darwin found the theory of everything. So can you imagine Charles Darwin's nose could have significantly changed science forever?
That eliminates... Do you know how much of science that eliminates just because of his nose?
Who knows how many years that could have put the human race back because of his nose? Exactly,
and it's because how many people discovered things that were inspired by Darwin. It's the same thing that we had about the bloodlines problem. Like people, it's a knock-on effect, you know, with a domino effect.
Domino effect.
That could actually, that has the potential to set us back.
And that's the funny thing.
Centuries.
When it comes down to it, black people just can't get away from dominoes. That's what it is.
Oh, if you know, you know, man. If you seen them
Blam!
if you seen them clapping them dominoes down, you know. Bro, I don't even know how to play dominoes. I'm gonna be real.
Nah,
I'm gonna
neither
be
do
real.
I. No, I don't know how
No
to
clue
play
what their
dominoes.
rules
I don't know how
are.
to
But
play.
I've seen them uncles and them I was about to say uncles and aunties. It's
They
uncles,
be
let's be real.
slamming things.
Slamming them down.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain locust plague. The Rocky Mountain locust died out in 1902. But what's interesting is in that 1847, the Rocky Mountain locust formed a plague so large that it covered 190,000 square miles and holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest concentration of animals ever speculated. Not seen, speculated. There was so many they didn't know how many. At 12.5 million locusts. Residents of the Great Plains and Canada describe swarms so thick that they covered the sun for 6 hours.
What?
Listen, let me say that again. Residents of the Great Plains in the US and Canada described swarms so thick that they covered the sun for 6 hours. They said this plague was larger, the locust was larger than California.
That's crazy.
That's insane. That sounds like the shit from the Bible, mate. You know when Moses sent the plague
Do you reckon you could take them? Can you imagine?
How many locusts per human?
6 hours.
Jesus Christ! But it's like 1847. You know, is there any pictures? Is there any cameras? Is there any, is anyone recording?
Yeah, that man can't count.
Oh my days! You'll give after 4. You're like, listen, let's forget about.
Oh my lord! Can you imagine? I mean, they couldn't have possibly counted that.
You can't begin to
6
count.
hours. They blocked out the sun.
They
for
said
6
they
hours.
blocked. They said residents said they blocked out the sun for 6 hours. It's insane. 190,000 square miles. That is insane.
I know.
Yeah, and then obviously the Rocky Mountain locust died out in 1902. Now we know why. These guys were breeding ridiculously. How can you say you have a plague larger than California? End to end, larger than California.
I mean, how do you combat that?
You don't. There's
Machine
nothing
guns?
you can do. This is why God sent plague for the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing you can do.
All right. How
was my last
about
one
we
anyways.
end with quote of the day? Oh, you don't have one? All right.
I thought you had one.
I do have one.
Oh, you do?
So what, I get a free run today?
You get a free run today.
Well,
Make it a good one.
Every day I get a free run.
You
We
don't.
have the
'Cause
competition.
last week.
You've never won.
Last week you didn't get a
Question of the day! Which isn't question of the day. It's quote of the day.
You already fucked up. Just switch it off.
A puppet is free so long as he loves his strings. I know you don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what it means, but I'm pondering it.
but this- So basically, it touches on the thing that I said, where I said we are free to want what we want, but we cannot will what we will.
Yeah.
So we can want what we want, but we don't decide what we want. So it's just like, it's the same as the puppet. The puppet is free so long as he loves his strings, and that's us. We love our strings. So we love the chocolate. We love to want the chocolate cake. But we didn't choose to want the chocolate cake.
We didn't choose that.
That's how we are. We're puppets.
Yeah, that's a good way to
but
explain
who's
that.
controlling the strings?
100%. Me. But that's a good way of explaining it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the type of quote that might need some explanation for people like you.
So what you're saying is it's not a good quote. I knew that already.
So you need help. I know, mental help. But that's fine. We can't all be intelligent.
Fuck you.
Yeah, sometimes that's just necessary.
Sometimes I'm literally just like, you know what? You went too far. You crossed the line.
But yeah, listen, guys, it's been great. Till next time.